Hey everyone, welcome back to the series. In today's video, we are continuing our Figma login screen design part 3. So without any further ado, let's get into Figma. Now let's continue from where we have left off. This is the login screen we had created in our previous video. So I'll just need to do a minor adjustment. I will double click on this eye icon, I will just zoom in and then I will grab my 16 by 16 square and I'll just place it here. I need this 16 square space all around, so I'll make a copy of it and I'll place it above this eye icon and then also one below it. So I need to make the eye icon a bit smaller to fit in this. I'll click on the eye icon and I will hold down shift and I will click and drag to make it a bit smaller, and then I will move it to the right a bit, and then I'll just zoom out and I will take my 16 by 16 square from where we had picked it from, and then I will delete these other two squares. So now I'll just zoom out and this is our final login screen we have created. Now let's go ahead and start creating the next screen, which is the registration screen. So click on the login name of your artboard and just duplicate this artboard while holding down Alt on the keyboard and click and drag to make a copy of this. And I will just double click on this title and I will name it registration, and then you can see on the left side under the layers panel we now have a registration screen. The below one is the login one we just created before. I'll just close that one and I'll open the registration screen menu and I will go all the way to the bottom and I will unhide the OS helpers so we can just see what we'll be making now. Let's create a back arrow. So to create a back arrow, you can again go up to your plugins and go to the Iconify tool, and once it opens up you can just type in here back and it will show you these arrows you can choose from. I will click on this and I'll just click and drag on the canvas and I'll just make it a bit bigger, and I will just place it on the middle alignment of this OS helper, this rectangle, the darker one. I'll close this Iconify menu and then I'll just zoom in and I'll just align it to middle alignment to this square, and then I will click on this logo and I will hit delete, and then I will click on the text tool and I will type registration and I'll click and drag over here in the middle alignment, and the spacing between this arrow and the registration I want it to be again 16 pixels. So I'll grab my 16 by 16 square over here and I'll just place it next to the arrow and I will click on the registration text and then I will move it to the bit to the left, and then I will click and drag this orange box from where we had picked it from, and I'll change the color of this registration to our main primary color, and I'll just go to the OS helpers and I will hide them again. And also you can just double click on the arrow, go up to the vector, under the fill I will change it again to the primary color, even the line of the arrow and the other section of the arrow. Now you can see it is all that primary color. We need to also make one minor small change in our previous screen. Just double click on this sign up text and you can just change this to register, since our next screen is the registration screen. And also in this button, instead of register now, just double click on it and change it to register only. Once you have done this, let's create a field called re-enter password over here. So to do that, first just click on these two fields and then click and drag this at the bottom a bit. Then click on this forgot password and click on delete. Since this is a registration screen, we don't need that field. Then click on this password field and click and drag while holding down Alt, and make sure the spacing is same across between these fields, and then double click on this text password and change it to re-enter password. And here inside this field also you can write something like enter your password again. Here I'll just fix the spelling of this password while adding the double S. Now let's move this buttons a bit closer to this re-enter password field. So grab your 32 by 32 square and I'll just place it here below this field, and then I'll click on these two buttons and then I'll move them up to align to that orange square. I'll zoom in to the seed. We have to just move it all a bit to the bottom like so, and there you go, we have the 32 pixel space over here. Next thing is we'll need to create a title. Then grab this box and place it over here. So we will have now this is the space we'll be using, 32 by 32 over here as well. Then click on your text tool and click on the canvas and start typing. I will just type here create a free account, and then you can just move it to the right, and I will come up to the alignment tool over here and set it to left, and the size of this I will set it to around 32, and I will move this up a bit and align it to the orange square on the left. After the free word I will hit enter to get the account on the next line. We also need to decrease the vertical spacing, so from here come up to the line height and I will just change it to 36, or else you can even make it more less, keeping it 32, and you can just align it like so, and then again click on this 32 by 32 square and place it at the bottom and zoom in, so we know the bottom space is also 32 by 32, and then click on this text and just move it a bit down to touch the orange square. Just zoom out and then click this orange square and place it back from where we had picked it from, and then click on this create a free account text and come up to the fill and again choose our primary color. You can also pick up from your eyedropper tool by clicking on this and then choosing this primary color from here. Now next thing is I'll just zoom into the screen a bit and I'll just click on this registration and I will just middle align it to the arrow, and then I will click on this and click and drag all the way to the right, and I will click on my 32 by 32 square. I'll bring it there and I'll place it there, and I will click on this registration screen and the alignment I will set it to left, and I kept it to this side so even longer text will fit and align to the left, and the spacing over here is 32 by 32 pixel, and I'll click and drag this orange square back to where it was. Now let's create the third screen, which is the forgot password. Click on this registration artboard and duplicate it by clicking on Command D to make a duplicate of this, and double click on the title, and you can just type here forgot password, and also I'll change the title over here to change to forgot password with the question mark, and here I'll change this large title to reset your password now. You can also just click and drag this bounding box, so it will go in 2 lines. And in this, we don't need the password and re-enter password field, so I'll click and drag and delete these. And also we don't need already have an account and login button, so I will delete this as well. And then I will move this registration button on the top, and let's make sure we have a consistent spacing over here. So I'll bring my 32 by 32 square box over here, and I'll place it here, and I will click and drag this button to align to that, and I will double click on this registration text. I will rename it to send me a new password to make it more user friendly. So now you see how our screens are coming up. This is how you basically design screens for login and registrations. I will click and drag this 32 by 32 pixel box from where it was. Then I'll just click on my forgot password artboard, and I'll just move it to the right a bit so the spacing is even between the artboards. Now let's create the full screen, which will be the duplicate of our first screen, which will have our field entered in it to show how it will look if we have entered an email in this field. So click on this login screen and click on LT and click and drag to make a duplicate of it. Just rename it to login field, and I'll just double click on this email, and I will just type in some random email, kazem123@gmail.com. and you can also, since it's filled, you can make it medium without the italics, and you can come up to the fill and create the full opacity of black and just middle align it to this text box. After making it fill, then click on this text field, and the stroke of it, make it green so it will look like it has been entered. So come up to the libraries over here and come up to the color picker over here, and then change the color to green. Let's make it a greenish color, which is the code I'm using is 06D937. And then I will click on this opacity and make it full, so it will look like as if it has been entered. And also you can increase the weight of this stroke from 1 to 1.5, so it will look like as if it has been filled. And also you can add a checkbox here. So come up to the plugins menu on the bottom under actions menu, go again to the Iconify tool and click on tick. Just type tick, and you can just click and drag this checkbox over here, and you can place it over here. And you can also change the color of this tick to green by again coming up to the stroke, and I had already chosen the green over here, so I'll click on this. So you can see I have made the tick as well green, so that means our email field has been entered successfully. After you have done that, then just come up to the top name of this artboard and change it to login email field. Okay, so as you can see now, since we are copying the screen and making it, it's more easier as we go along. Now let's make another screen which will show the password being entered as a wrong. So just duplicate this by clicking on the title and click on Command D to make a copy of it, and I'll just move it here, and I'll double click on this, and here I'll write login password week. So in this we'll set up how it looks when a password is entered as a week. So just zoom in your artboard and double click on your text box, and you can just click on shift and 8 number to add this password symbols. Once you have duplicated this, I just noticed that the password text is wrong here, so I'll double click in this field and add the S here, and same goes for here. But in this we'll just take the same font properties what we have above. So I will click on this, double click on this, and I'll right click and I will click on copy style, and it's just black and pop in mediums. So I'll make this font also same, it's black. I'll make the full transparency and I'll make it just medium instead of italics. And to enter the password, just double click on it, and either you can click on Alt and 8 to get this dotted password symbol, or also you can just click on Shift 8 to get the regular asterisk symbol as well. So now that we have our password set up, I'll just align it to the center, and I can also increase the size of these to 20, and I'll just center align these. And now in the bottom I'll just write if the password is weak or strong. So since it's a weak password, we'll just delete the other 4 password characters, so it will look like as if it's a weak password. Then just double click on this and make a copy of it and move it to the left side. Right now it's set to right here, align right, set it to align left, and here just write weak, so it will show as if it's a weak password. To get the weak password icons, you can just create a small circle next to the weak, and you can click on this color picker and choose this darkish yellow color and make a duplicate of this boxes, so it will show you the password is weak. You can even just click on these again and change it to red, suppose it will be more better. So it will look like as if the password is weak. Now let's create a box where we are saying the password is strong. Since it's a weak password, you can also change the stroke of this box to red. You can click on the stroke and take the red we just chose. You can click on the eyedropper tool and click on this dark circle, so you can see now we have the red box around it as well. So it will make sure that it's an error and that it's a weak password. Now let's make a copy of this, and now let's make a strong password. Click on this artboard again and I'll make a duplicate of it by holding down Alt on the keyboard and dragging to the right. Now since we are going to show it's a strong password, we have to just double click on this and we'll enter some more characters, and this red will make it again green. I'll click on the eyedropper tool and I'll pick up this green color, and this one will be, instead of weak, we'll type it strong, and we'll grab these 4 boxes. Then I'll grab these 4 circles and I'll move them a bit to the right, and I'll click on this fill again. I'll click on the eyedropper and I will click on this green color, so it shows the password is strong. Once you have changed those to green, then just come up to the title and I will just rename it login password strong. So there you go, guys. This is our login screen flow we have made. I hope you guys have learned something from this training video. If you found this video helpful, please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more Figma tutorials. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.